So we've been looking for a tablet option for the studio for some time now, and we're going to look at we've been looking all week at this product here, which is the Wacom One. This is one I've bought, so I don't have to say anything nice about it. So it's not a sponsored video in any way. And as anyone who does know me, I do like the Wacom range, and I use a lot of their Cintiqs, and I've used an Intuos for since they were invented. So I'm quite loyal to the brand because it works for me. But we're looking for something that I can fill a studio with. So I'm going to be looking at something that's going to be nine units, and I need something that's flexible for us and for our training. So I've kind of settled on this one because it does a lot of things well. So in terms of size, it's a 13.3 inch, which if you look at it, this is an Intuos Pro Medium. It's pretty much exactly the same size. So in terms of desk space, it's exactly the same size. So for me at work, having 9 of these on desks, that doesn't kill us on desk space for a start. It only weighs a kilogram, so it's not. In fact, it's a tiny bit heavier than the Intuos, but it's really lightweight. I'm not a huge fan of the size of this bezel, but the big selling point of this product is it's 350 quid in the UK, so £350. Which, when you think of what price a Cintiq might be, or what price some of the products in the market are, that's very, very competitive now. I suppose the thing is, does it stand up to the competition? So that bezel, not a huge problem to me, especially when you say it's a cheaper option than the biggest, more expensive Cintiqs. ZBrush is the one that I probably personally use the most, and what I've found with certainly in terms of response times, a lot of it's down to the laptop that you're going to put it on. So obviously, you can't blame the tablet if there's any slowness from a PC, from a memory and RAM point of view. But on this gaming laptop, it performed admirably. I've got zero lag. I've found the sculpting is absolutely fine. I haven't tried to put it up to millions and millions of polygons, but I'm getting fairly decent response times straight out of the bag. One thing I did notice with ZBrush is, and it's something that you would have to get your head around with pretty much any of the any tablet really that's this size, is that the screen size means that if you've only got 1920 1080, you're going to have to pick a relative interface size. So you'd probably like the interface that comes with what's called ZBrush Core, maybe. Or with Tab on, you can use quite a clean screen like that, and you can also shut these side panels down. So you can get yourself quite a clean experience and enough screen real estate to be able to perform. But that's up to you to configure with your individual software. So if you're used to using, like a 4K monitor, this is going to feel quite restricted. But for most people, for sketching, drawing, you're not going to have a problem with it at all. In terms of brightness, I tinkered with the settings in the Wacom Desktop Center, and I've cranked the brightness right up. It's absolutely fine. And compare that to sort of like the Wacom 16, and it's not far off really in terms of the settings. And talking about the settings, that probably gets us on to the next thing really, which is the pen. So I've used a range of the Wacom pens over the last 20 odd years. We've got the original Pro Pen, you can see there. There's the Pro Pen 2, which I use a lot, and more recently there's the Pro Pen 3D, which I personally use a lot because of programs like Maya and Cinema 4D, where the 3D pen has an extra button basically. Now this is like the old Pro Pen, as in the fact it doesn't have, the new 3D pen, it doesn't have an eraser on the end, which I've never missed anyway. I've never used it really. And the buttons are, you've got your backwards and forwards button, which is exactly the same on the Pro Pen. It's much more like an Intuos pen than a Pro Pen. So you're not going to get the feel of the Intuos. I think the Intuos Pro the Pro Pen 2 is probably the industry standard now. That's the de facto that we all use. The fact that it's batteryless is a huge benefit. You know, I don't like battery pens. We do have a couple of them in the office, and they're just not my favourite at all. So how it performs, just the same really. This button here, the 2-button, the back and forward rocker, is smaller than it is on the expensive, the more expensive line. But it's perfectly fine. You know, it allows you to do everything that it would do, you know, with the other pens, and it doesn't really. I haven't noticed a problem really. You can definitely, it's lighter, but I don't know whether that really makes a difference. You know, it hasn't got a rubber cover like the older one. But in terms of the operation and how it works for me, it's worked fine all week. So it hasn't caused me any major issues at all. So overall, you know, I'm really impressed with it. The price is the main thing, and the second thing that I like about it is the size. So we're going to put it in the studio on sort of like 9 desks. So, you know, paying 350 quid is nice. It's better than trying to, you know, raise the budget for, you know, for 9 of the higher end machines. Obviously, one that we have considered is the Wacom 16, which is obviously a little bit bigger than this, but then you're talking about desk space. And if you don't need it, then it's better not to have it. It's better to go for the you know, the smaller size of tablet. On the back of it, just to have a quick look, you've got 2 legs, just 2, pretty straightforward. Push up and down, and inside, deep here, maybe I can zoom in, you should be able to see that there's extra nibs for your pen, so you have got that as well. And then if you want to just sketch on your knee, and just shut them down, and it just acts much more like a normal kind of tablet. Obviously, you've got to factor in that you're always going to be wired, at least with that one cable. And I do this a lot because I'm so used to having touch, and there's no touch on this. So what I'm finding that I'm doing is I'm sitting it here, and my laptop's here, and I'm using all of the features of the touchpad on the laptop. So you know, when I'm changing my brushes, you know, there's no sliders here, there's no buttons on the it's just literally a clean pad. The power on and off is the only actual physical button on there. And there's obviously the I don't know whether it's patented, but the place to hold your pen at the top there, which is nice. So yeah, I've been quite impressed with it this week. We're definitely going to invest in a few. You know, I've got different manufacturers' products in the office. I've tried quite a few. I've reviewed them for 3D World magazine, and we generally keep the review units, so I have got them to test. And this one is kind of taken my heart a little bit, really. I quite like that. I just like this small. It's not much bigger, not much bigger than 2 handspans, really, for me. So that's, you know, not much bigger than my iPad or my Mobile Studio Pro 13, you know, so it's a nice small unit, and in my bag it just sits against my laptop. So the negatives, you know, I've listed them already, but for me, you know, they're very small. So it's, you know, the gamut is lower than you would want on the if you're a designer or a photographer. Perhaps you might want the more expensive one, but overall, you know, pretty good. So in summary, price is good, size is right for me, the brightness is fine, the pen is okay. It's not my favourite in the range, but again, we're on a bit of a budget here, so it's more than adequate to start. It's more than adequate to use in a studio environment. Portability is good, but obviously you've got to factor in a cable. Screen brightness, absolutely fine, and overall a very, very good offering. Wacom is responding to the fact that there's a lot more people in the marketplace now, and they've had to respond, I think, because of the amount of new products that are coming onto the market, and this is a good way to keep the cheaper or the entry level. If you're going into uni or if you're going into college and you want a unit to last you for 3 or 4 years, then this could be the one. This could do you for home and for college. So there's lots of reasons to have a look at this. If you're a higher end photographer, if you're a higher end designer, then obviously size might not be for you, gamut might not be for you. Take a look at the next few up, but pretty much it works for us, and I think we'll be moving forward putting this into the studio.